Schedule 1. It's a game that needs no introduction. One developer made a banger of a game, better than a AAA studio. Every streamer was playing it, everyone and their moms were making YouTube videos on it. And after the hype has passed, I have come out of the woodworks. And we start by getting arrested. Okay, baby, now that we got away, we'll get right into it. Grab this stuff, grab the whole shelf, and go for some fresh air. We get a call from an Uncle Nelson, and on that call he tells us that he's in a bit of a pickle. But everything will be fine. He says that in his prime, he stashed some cash around the city. I will definitely be going around the city and collecting Nelson's thoughtful gifts, but first, we shall deinstall some of these planter boxes. Because I have a feeling that nothing good is going to happen in this van, and I want to make sure that these planter boxes survive whatever happens in this van. Now, to run at very fast speeds around the city collecting cash, and not arousing any suspicion. This was the beginning of a problem. You see, this town has a family called... and they did not like me parking my van on their turf. So instead of giving me a warning, they blew my shit. This was not ideal. Thankfully, Nelson told us we should not panic, but instead move to the motel and run operations from there. Thanks, son. Parking a sketchy van in the forest will get it blown up, but dealing weed out the local motel will surely pan out just fine. So I go get the roof. Then I decide to go down to the hardware store, buy some materials, go back to the motel room, and set up a small tent. I pour some soil into it, gave it some water, and then I realized I didn't have any seeds. So I went out and threw a lady in the garbage to let out my frustrations. Because this day was already becoming a tough little cookie. After that demonic procedure, I just grabbed some seeds, planted them, poof. Called it a day and went to bed. We wake up and decide that the perfect start to the day is a slow one, so I boot up the TV and proceed to experience utter disappointment in myself. So let's cut the shit and get right back to work, baby. We will start by chip-chopping some buds of plants and realize that we need to buy baggies for the buds. Head down to the hardware store, grab the baggies, and on our way home, we will steal the cash back from a random bystander, get back to our motel, and get straight to packing our product. Help me. Then realize we still need to list our product to actually sell anything. Immediately gets a request. Now to get some seeds so we can continue to run this operation. Get some more weed requests along the way. Ready our pots at home so we can plant our new batch. And while going to get the weed seeds, get some more weed requests. At home, straight to packing.
While full blasting a flashlight at the wall for total quality control.
Then after that, straight back to planting our crop.
More requests!
And finally, we have our first deal. And another one. Here is where I meet our two cop main characters that will be a pain in my ass for the entire playthrough. They don't seem to mind barrels, but side-eye see me at a 90-degree angle. The two homies have an absolute festive time, unleashing the full wattage of a developing country into my ass. I get scared and try to pull out my trump card, landing on the roof of the taco tickler. This does almost completely fucking nothing, because I seem to have overseen the ladder they use to get up to the roof. Also, my sick little trick really seems to have made them angry because they proceed to mag dump an entire magazine in my last pinky. And it's right back to work. At the end of the night, I deposit my cash dealings into my bank account. I also decide to tell my convicted family member that I have made illegal money selling drugs. He says I ain't made nothing yet and tells me I should save up $800 for the place on top of the Chinese restaurant. That was a lot for day 2. I think we'll head back and take a nap. Tomorrow will be chill. I can feel it. Day 3 starts off chill. I decided to chip chop my plants, and while doing this, I remark on the very little requests I got yesterday. So on the agenda today is to give out free samples to the whole entire city so we can get some based people in our contacts. I go to the shop, grab some baggies, get my daily fix of potting plants. I'm sure this won't get old. After potting my plants, I pack up the weed for the day under severe lighting conditions and head out to give out my free samples. Of course, I also light one up with the homie to self-check the quality of my product. He loves my stuff. I give him my number and run over to the local gas station for a ready. At the register, I light one up with the cashier and she loves it. Run over to Mrs. Ming. Mrs. Ming is the lady we really need to like our stuff, so I can move on top of her restaurant. She really did not. I wanted to bash her skull in, but got completely distracted by my phone and forgot where I am and what I was doing. All this running around makes me want to buy a skateboard. The golden one to be exact, but I'm broke. I spent all day handing out samples. I got a couple of requests and I'll be making a bag tonight. And because I really cannot be bothered walking anymore, I'll just get the cheap one for now. I got a fair amount of customers and I'll pack up some flour for the night and get ready to deal to the whole entire city. I smoke one before heading out and immediately get greeted by the two main character cops, being a pain. As I make my last sale, I head back home and replan plans for tomorrow. I go sleep. Day 3. Just like any other day, starts off with some gardening. Deposit some of my cash into my bank account and head out to Miss Ming. Since I got enough cash, I decide to buy the property. Now, it's time to move our HQ out of the motel and into our brand new apartment. We proceed to bag everything up and skate to the new place, place everything down, and
Ta-da!
now all this time I was running around, I was also smoking up a storm and handing out free samples, so we got even more customers. Because of our influx of customers, I need to get together with a dealer to move my product quicker. I hit up Benji, hire him, and think of the following strategy. This is the Connections app. It basically shows you who knows who. And in my mind, to optimize Benji's worth, I will assign him to the people closest to him. I don't actually know if this does anything, but it feels like the right thing to do. Now, I'm not sure if it's better to give him the closest 4 customers or max him out, and because I'm not one for optimizing, I'll just fill him up and call it a day. Now, on the 4th day, things weren't that much different except that I got a golden skateboard. Otherwise, I did a little reorganizing, potting more plants, and packaging weed. But now, in jars.
TM.
Can't forget about making a fat rack at the end of the day. The next day, I got a mixing station. I also got these slick automated shears. And right after placing the mixing station, I went down to the local gas station to buy some mixing supplies so I can cut my weed. I decided to go with some paracetamol, Viagra. I then mixed my next batch with mouthwash, getting purple cheese, and somehow the effect of anti-gravity, and got a little curious. So I smoked it. In my enlightened state, I mixed some banana and mouthwash together to get the optimal high. I also proceeded to smoke every other batch, making me turn into a ginger, then balding, then debalding, and
I don't know about that one.
so after carefully looking at some Nile Red tutorials, I decided to mix the mouthwash and the banana and put it on sale. Partly because of the anti-gravity effect, but mostly because this gave me the most amount of money. While my market batch was mixing, I cleaned up the place and properly disposed of the garbage.
Nerf this!
Our goal right now is to get 10k to unlock meth. So let's get this thing rolling. Stop! We first need to buy some things. First things first. We just unlocked the best tier of weed, so all of that mixing was for nothing. And we need to get some of that new dank. Then, I am tired of always manually packing things, so I got the Packer V2. We also need a botanist to help us with our growing operation, so I went over to Manny and asked him if he knew anyone. Meet Justin. I spent some time setting this guy up, but the most important part about him is to make sure that he has space to move while pathing from station to station. And he needs to get paid. 200, I think it is a day. Spent some time setting up his storage, assigned his pots, gave him some money, and let him be. He got straight to work. And I got straight to realizing that just dead drops were not going to cut it. So I proceeded to mix up my weed to make it more profitable and ended up losing on profit. And making an absolute shit cake with worse effects. I uppriced it though, to make me feel a little better. I also smoked some and just got reminded of the sick strain I once had and now got replaced by this absolute shit that makes you stinky and vomit. Nelson gives us the contact for Pseudo, so we get a whole lab and get ready to cook. Head home, and the next morning get an ominous message telling me to meet them at the skate park. This is probably the family. So I leave my stuff at the home and head over to meet my rival. A black SUV stands before me. I meet Thomas, where we talk for a while and I tell him that I don't want to work with them. I might have used some strong language because he shoots me in the head and I die.